This is my bitch talking to me. Oh, she stopped for a second. Right. Okay, hello YouTube. Matthew Williams here. Just bringing you a short update to let you know on Tuesday I went into court against the Crown under the agents of Carter Jonas. Matt versus the Crown and Carter Jonas. Well, anyway, the upshot of this was that a court case that was held in the Trowbridge County Court was technically an invalid case, and had the court actually not been presented with a valid contract, which up to that point they hadn't, the case would have remained invalid and would have been thrown out. So my technical point that the case that was asked for was invalid because the documentation that had been put forward by the Crown to gain the case was an invalid void contract, so therefore the case shouldn't have gone ahead. That was a correct point, and the judge did appreciate that point, and on that basis the claim that was put in by the Crown to obviously intimidate me into not going to court on this matter, which was sent with two, not one, but two registered recorded delivery letters the day before we went to court. Good timing. Not like a month ago or 2 months ago, yes, when we were meant to go to court, yeah. No. A day before we were meant to go to court. Our costs are £2,700, Mr. Williams. Do you want to go to court now? Feeling big, are you, Mr. Williams? Feeling very big? Want to go to court against the Crown, do you? Actually, yes, feeling very fucking big. And feeling very fucking clever. And was fucking right. So, Mr. Williams basically had the full support of the judge, and she said, £2,700? Excuse me, Carter Jonas and the court, Carter Jonas and the Crown. Oh, Cassie, don't. Not whilst I'm doing the YouTube thing. Hang on. Go on, you go. Shush. Dog. Always after treats, otherwise it pesters me and starts jumping on me. So, right. Anyway, the judge was totally behind me. She said, yes, technically this case was presented to the court with an invalid contract, so shouldn't have been put forward on this basis. But because they pulled in now an older contract, which they say will stand in instead of the invalid contract which was presented before the court, because they've done that, then she'd allow the case to go ahead, but with penalties against the Crown for having put the case forward improperly. So she basically took on board, you are going to have to go out. You're going to have to go out if you're going to make noise. So, anyway, the upshot of it was, the judge was very displeased with what she heard about the way that Carter Jonas had... Cassie, you're going to have to go out or I'm going to have to stop recording. Go on out. Go on. Down. Go on out. Out. I know this is, I don't want to stop recording. Right, okay, so the point. She awarded me the maximum amount of time that I can have under law in order to stay in the premises, which is 42 days. And she was very kind to let me know my rights in saying that I can actually stay here beyond the 42 days when a warrant of execution is given, which gives the bailiffs the time to decide a date to come and actually forcibly evict me from the premises, at which time I will be living on the streets. And that's not going to be very nice, but that is what's going to happen, because the local council will not rehome me because I have a dog. And because I have a dog, they're not interested. It's not their fucking problem, apparently. And the judge actually helpfully pointed out to me, she said, well, if you take this possession order that I, basically ordered now that you are going to have to get out by this time, they will have to place you higher on their lists and look for a place for you, because you can't literally go onto the streets. And she said you have to take this possession order to them immediately and work something out, because they can't actually put you onto the streets. So basically everything I have now, apart from the contents of this room and my washing machine and fridge, everything is in storage, and I'm going to be paying for storage on those last items, to go in, and then I will have nothing. I will have no home. So I'm not looking forward to that. That's going to happen bang on Christmas time. It's going to be a week or so before Christmas, so that'll be my Christmas present. And yeah, I just hope that the council do actually lighten up on their bollocks attitude of saying that you can't have a dog. You can't have a dog in a council house. We allow children. We allow children and families, of screaming kids to, live in these places. But no, you can't. And if you're an old age pensioner or a disabled person, then you can have a garden. But if you're a young person, then you don't count as important enough, so you have to get rid of your dog. Which I think is actually against European Court of Human Rights declaration, saying that everybody is entitled to a pet. Which means that if you're living in a premises, you are entitled to an animal. Whether or not the landlord likes it or not, you are actually entitled to have an animal, a pet. So this concept of a dog is for life, not just for Christmas, is fine, unless of course you live in Old Blighty, in which case a dog is for Christmas. If you've got to get a council house or somewhere that is under trust housing, yes, a dog is just for Christmas. A dog is a throwaway item. A dog is something that you have to throw away because you can't actually have a house with a dog because they're not interested. It's your problem. So the fact that the Crown have made me get out of my premises that I've lived in for 12 years happily and paid the rent for 12 years without any problem or any hitch, no problem at all, they won't let me live here after they've redecorated the places, because they're going to charge double or triple the rent, which they say you won't be able to afford. Yes, so they won't rehome me. They have loads of houses because they're the Crown, but they won't rehome me because all their houses are really expensive now. And that's what they're doing. They're taking everybody out of the cheap houses that they could afford, and they're going, give us your cheap house back because we don't want you anymore, and you can't afford the new one, so go and fuck off and find something that you can afford. Oh, there is nothing. Ha! Well, you can't afford anything, so you're out on the street. So all these people that can't afford fucking housing are out on the street, and this is what's happening at the moment. And the government have just turned around and said that they're actually going to be cutting down the amount that people can have in order to live in a house. And guess what? Housing rental prices are higher than they have ever been before. So what with the Crown using this policy of getting people out and out and out and out and selling off the premises to private landlords who will rent at double or triple the charge, yes, what do you think this means for the people of the UK? I read this week that gypsy traveller sites, by the way, have actually been allocated money by the government to the tune of £32 million per council, and not even 1.5 million out of that money has actually been spent in order to rehouse the gypsies. So I think somebody somewhere doesn't want poor people to have housing, and I think somebody somewhere doesn't give a fuck if people end up on the streets. And I think somebody somewhere thinks it's more important to allow immigrants from other countries who have never paid any tax in their life to come to the UK and be guaranteed housing, when people who do live here and whose families have lived here and whose families and these people have paid tax all their life. It's more important for them to get pushed out of their cheap affordable housing onto the streets. That's more important. So that's my YouTube for today. If anybody would rather see me have a nicer Christmas present than eviction onto the street, I'd like to hear from you. There's a comments box, and I'm sure if you'd like to contact Wiltshire Council regarding this case, you can tell them that I have given you permission to do so. So let them know your feelings, that maybe, you know, a house would be a nice place as a present for Christmas for Matthew. So here's seeing you, YouTube. All the best. Bye.